Sort of a witch hunt, just a continuation of the witch hunt. The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 of the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly, and Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So
Donald Trump stood on stage, the lights blazing down on him, the crowd roaring with chants, and the energy buzzing like electricity in the air. It was supposed to be another typical rally, another night where he commanded the spotlight with his bold words and larger-than-life personality. But this night turned into something else, something far more explosive. With a few words, Trump lit the fire that no one could put out, and the entire nation found itself caught in the storm. He leaned into the microphone, his voice lower, softer, as though he wanted to share a secret with thousands of people listening. This wasn't his usual fire about policies, walls, or opponents. This was something personal, something that hit closer than politics. The crowd grew quiet, sensing that something unusual was about to be revealed. And then he said it. He didn't call Ivanka his daughter in the way people expected. He didn't say advisor, supporter, or family. Instead, Trump declared that Ivanka wasn't just his child, but his partner, the partner behind his biggest decisions. The word cut through the silence like a blade. Partner. Not assistant, not family, but partner. People.
What's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
People clapped at first, more out of loyalty than understanding. But then faces started to shift. Some looked confused, some uneasy, and some whispered to the person beside them, because everyone knew that word carried a meaning beyond the stage. Trump had just placed Ivanka in the highest seat of influence, suggesting that she had been more involved in America's decisions than anyone had realized. For years, Ivanka had been seen as polished, elegant, and poised, the daughter who stood gracefully beside her father in the spotlight. She had attended meetings, traveled the world, and even represented the administration in conversations with leaders from across the globe. But now, with one word, Trump confirmed what many had suspected, but few could prove, that she wasn't just watching, she was deciding, and this was the moment Barack Obama had been waiting for.
Assure the public that there was not the kind of tampering with the voting process that was of concern and will continue to be of concern going forward, that the votes that were cast were counted. They were counted appropriately. We have not seen evidence of machines being tampered with. So that assurance I can provide.
Obama had stayed quiet for months, watching, listening, collecting whispers and information from trusted voices inside the system. While Trump smiled on stage while the crowd roared with cheers, Obama had been in the background, piecing together the puzzle. Rumors had reached him about Ivanka's role in sensitive decisions, whispers that she was present during national security talks, that her voice carried weight far beyond her official title. At first, Obama dismissed it as gossip, but then the whispers turned into documents, into intercepted calls, into testimonies. Slowly, the picture grew clearer. So when Trump announced publicly that Ivanka was his partner, Obama decided it was time to speak. At his own event, Obama stood tall, his words sharp, his tone serious. He didn't raise his voice, but every syllable carried weight. He spoke of truths hidden in plain sight, of the dangers of blurred lines, of power placed where it did not belong, And then, without hesitation, he dropped the line that changed everything. Obama revealed that what Trump had confessed wasn't just unusual, it was dangerous. He suggested that Ivanka's influence went beyond the boundaries of democracy, and that her role had shifted the very balance of leadership in the White House. The crowd listening to Obama gasped, their eyes wide, their voices echoing with shock. He had said what many had thought but were too afraid to admit. His words were careful, deliberate, but they struck like thunder. He had drawn a line in the sand, exposing Trump's declaration not as a proud moment of family loyalty, but as a threat to the nation itself. Trump heard the remarks within minutes, and his reaction was explosive. On live television, he erupted with anger, his voice raised, his face red with fury. He called Obama a traitor, accused him of treason, and claimed that everything said was nothing more than a plan to destroy him. He accused Obama of trying to rig elections, of spreading lies, of being the true mastermind behind corruption. The rally stage that had moments earlier been a place of applause and celebration turned into a battlefield of words, and Trump was at war. But the story did not end with angry shouts or accusations. It dug deeper, revealing cracks that had long been hidden from public view. Because this wasn't just about politics anymore. This was about family, power, influence, and secrets that had lived in the shadows for years. For decades, Ivanka Trump had been a figure of fascination. Beautiful, composed, and always close to her father, she played the role of loyal daughter and businesswoman. But questions about her closeness to Trump had followed her for years. There were interviews where Trump made remarks that crossed the line of what people expected a father to say. From comments about how attractive she was, to the infamous line where he said, "If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her." Trump had fueled the speculation himself. Critics had always pointed to those comments as signs of something unusual, but now with his public declaration of her as his partner, the suspicion had grown louder. Behind closed doors, Ivanka wasn't just part of Trump's family, she was part of his decisions. From real estate deals to campaign strategies, from business negotiations to White House choices, her voice carried a weight that many insiders described as greater than cabinet members or advisors. Some even claimed that Trump trusted Ivanka's opinion more than he trusted experienced politicians or generals. And now, with Obama stepping into the conversation, the entire country was being forced to look at this relationship with new eyes. The tension between Trump and Obama had always been high, but this new spark pushed it to dangerous levels. Trump accused Obama of being the leader of a gang, of orchestrating treason, of trying to take him down. Obama, on the other hand, framed Trump's words as evidence of misplaced power, of blurred lines between family and governance, and of risks that could threaten democracy itself. The world watched as the two men, both former presidents, clashed in one of the most explosive exchanges ever witnessed. Crowds divided. Supporters defended Trump, saying Ivanka was simply a smart, capable woman who earned her father's trust. Critics, however, echoed Obama's warning, asking what it truly meant when decisions about war, peace, and policy were being influenced by someone with no elected position. The storm raged on.